Make a prep-friendly blueberry cobbler? Well, watch this video and let me show you how. What's up, Martians? We're back in the kitchen, and today we're making a prep-friendly blueberry cobbler. So, hope you guys are excited. You guys really liked the last little cooking episode that we did, so we figured we could roll on into this and do some more fun stuff. So we made waffles last time. Today we're gonna make a cobbler. So it's gonna have some of the similar ingredients, but a little bit different preparation and a little bit different outcome. We don't need too much crazy stuff for this. Frozen blueberries or fresh blueberries, whatever you have at the house. Elevate cream of rice or whatever cream of rice you use. You can also use oats here, guys, but I don't like oats because they kind of mess up my stomach. And because we're going with the cobbler, I decided to go with a maple brown sugar. I feel like that goes kind of with what the cobbler flavor is supposed to be. We have an apple, again, but this time we'll use much less apple because we don't want as much of a cake texture as we did with the waffles or if we were making a muffin out of those things. Obviously, stevia, cinnamon, salt, baking powder again, and then for our liquids, we're gonna have a little bit of fat-free milk and a little bit of egg whites. Again, we don't want too much egg white this time because we don't want it to turn out cakey. So we don't want too much of a sponge texture or anything like that. We want it to be more of crumble, more fall apart. So we're gonna use more liquid, so when that evaporates, the actual cake portion itself is more of a crumble portion. So start things off, we're gonna put blueberries. I have a Pyrex here, guys. This is probably the easiest to do it in, especially because how we're gonna bake this is we're just gonna throw it in the air fryer. I know bodybuilders are lazy. It's easier to do it like that, and also you can set the timer, set it and forget it versus putting it in the oven and having to watch over it and make sure that you don't bake it too long and burn it. So Pyrex, this one is like a 6x4 or something like that, but it fits in my air fryer. So we are going to start with the frozen blueberries here and put this on the scale. Kind of depends on what you get for fruit in your meal, guys. So for my meal, I get 150 grams of blueberries. Whoop, a little more than we needed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually looking at this portion. We'll make two, and I'll eat half of this and then half of it tomorrow. But that way, it kind of fills up the Pyrex and we get a little better, thicker cobbler out of it. So, blueberries on the bottom here, a little salt on the blueberries, a little cinnamon on the blueberries, a little stevia on these guys. We'll do 2 packets here, the traditional 2 packets if you've been around. Then take a spoon. Just gonna get all these blueberries covered with the cinnamon and stevia mixture here, because as these cook down in the air fryer and they start to unthaw, moisture starts to come out of them, it'll create kind of like a blueberry soup in here, which is what you want in the bottom of the cobbler. So make sure that that's cinnamon sugar sweetened up here, and then we're on to making the actual crumble itself. So this is pretty simple, guys, and fairly quick. I got my handy dandy blender here again, like we used last time. We're gonna take this apple. This time, guys, we're only gonna use about 50 grams of apple. Just enough to get a little moisture in there, but not really a ton of actual fruit. Boom, so there's 40. We'll give ourselves just a little bit more in there. We got that. We're gonna do about 30 grams of egg whites, which is not very much, guys. It's just enough really to bind the mixture together. We're gonna do a teaspoon baking soda. Elevate maple brown sugar. We get 120 grams of this. Last but not least, we are going to go with about 100 grams of milk. We're gonna blend this, see what kind of texture we get here. If this turns out how we want, we'll just double this and we'll make it, like I said, because I have double the blueberries in there. And we can actually, this will turn out good. This, we want it to be a little bit thicker anyway, so we don't really need to add any more apple or liquid. Mostly just gonna add more cream of rice here. So like I said, because we have 2 portions of blueberries, we'll do 2 portions of cream of rice. So really be 240 grams altogether. Then this should come out to the texture we want it to be. So we got this batter here, fairly thick. We got our blueberries here. All we're gonna do, we're gonna try not to make a mess. I don't know if we'll succeed. Okay, so now we have our cobbler mixture. We're just gonna pour it over the top of these blueberries here. Don't want to leave any crumbs behind here. We got this down. Get that batter to soak down into those blueberries a little bit. And then all we're gonna do, hit this with a little spray of Pam on the top. Toss this baby in the air fryer here. 370. We'll check back on that thing at about 10 minutes just to make sure, and then finish it off. And there you guys have it, prep cobbler. So simple, effective, easy. Like I said, that's 2. And if you're like me and you got a sweet tooth, this is a perfect way to clean that up or be able to fulfill that during prep. For my protein sources in here or with this meal, I will usually make a protein creamy. So we just end up doing 2 scoops of protein, water, a little bit of Fairlife until the last 2 weeks, then we'll cut milk out completely. But we'll freeze those up, make those creamies, and then we have cobbler with a scoop of ice cream on top. So absolutely delicious, fills that sweet tooth, and it's still meeting everything that we need to get done for prep, and it's yum. And there you have it. Blueberry cobbler, prep friendly and ready to go. Now it just needs a scoop of creamy ice cream, protein ice cream, and you got dessert. Oh gosh. Oh, 8 out of 10. I think I can perfect this some, but this is good. For meal number 2, we're gonna make prep friendly fried chicken or chicken nuggets, Martian style. We are back in the Martian kitchen and we are about to make some prep friendly chicken tenders. We got cornflakes, we got seasonings, and we got chicken breasts cut up into chicken tenders. This is very simple, very easy. You're gonna make your food taste a little bit better. All we're doing here, guys, taking some cornflakes to make sure you know the macros of how many carbs you're adding to your chicken. You want to weigh your cornflakes out. We're gonna go 65 grams, which is about 50 carbs, and I'm making a damn mess. We got 50 carbs there of cornflakes. That should roughly get about this much chicken. I have 2 seasonings here. You can really season this however you want your chicken to be flavored. So you can do Nashville hot chicken is a common one that I do with this a lot, or salt and pepper if you just want a plain one, or you can kind of spice things up. So I'm gonna use some blackened seasoning here. This is one of my favorites. And then this one I get at Walmart. It's called Coupe de Thrill, and it is salt and pepper based. It has some garlic and some cayenne and stuff in here as well, and just goes really well with the chicken slash breading that's gonna be on here. So cornflakes here. This is, again, gonna come down to a personal preference, guys, so it kind of comes down to like how seasoned you want your stuff. So we'll go pretty heavy with this Coupe de Thrill. because there's a lot of pepper and stuff in here, and I really like my chicken peppery. Do some blackened in here. We don't want a ton of that, but we want a little bit. We want some color and a little bit of flavor from that. And then this is easy, guys. We're just gonna hit this, turn it into a breading here. Dust those cornflakes up. And we got our breading here, guys. Got a Tupperware here. Looks like it's a little wet in the bottom, and I don't want the breading to stick. Dump this in here. There you guys see, got some breading. We have a little bit different levels of texture, but not too much. Mostly just want it pretty finely ground. And then you're just gonna place your chicken in here, guys. So, like so, lay some of these chicken tenders in there and shake around, flip them over, make sure everything gets coated here. And you guys, you can dunk these in egg whites if you wanted to do a second coating and make the breading a little bit thicker. But what you're gonna run into here then is you're starting to add quite a bit of carbs to your chicken. So I just like this thin coat here. What we'll do from there is into the air fryer basket, hit the air fryer basket with a light spray. Then we're gonna put our chicken tenders down inside of here. You wanna leave a little bit of space between them, guys, to make sure that the air fryer is blowing hot air around all of them, just so that we can make sure that all the pieces are getting crispy here. So we'll just finish off these pieces of chicken, what I got cut up here. And this should come out to be about 4 or 5 meals for me, guys. So with this being 50 carbs worth of breading here and the amount of chicken that we're gonna come out to be, maybe adding 10 carbs to the meal max, which if you already have carbs in your meal, it's not that big of a deal. Easy to be able to kind of substitute those out or pull a little bit of rice or pull 1 rice cake from your meal. And when you get hungry, this is a nice little way to feel like you're almost getting a cheat meal, especially if you make some air fryer potatoes to go with it. Make some air fryer potatoes to go in here, and you pretty much have at-home Chick-fil-A prep version, if you will. So get the rest of these laid out in here. Like I said, we got 50 carbs worth of breading in here, guys, and I think I'll be able to even cook this 5 or 6 portions of chicken here with only using about half of it. So you don't need much to be able to get the desired effect we're looking for. We are going to make this chicken next level just by adding this small addition to it. Got our first round of chicken ready to go here. All we'll do to this, again, hit with a light spray, throw this in the air fryer here. We're gonna put this on 400 for 15 minutes. And then let that cook. And when we're done, we'll have perfect chicken tenders for you guys to see. Like I said, we still have a ton of breading, and this was roughly 5 to 6 portions of chicken for me. So we'll be able to get all of this breaded and still have some breading left over to not even use all the 50 carbs of breading that we had. So like I said, guys, a good bit of cornflakes, or a small bit of cornflakes, goes a long way, if you will. So like I said here, boom, we can get all of this covered easily and still have enough to have breading for next time. Everything's breaded down, everything's ready for the air fryer. Simple, easy, but it's gonna make your food taste a little bit better. And in the off season, this is an awesome trick to be able to just get more food in. When you're not looking forward to eating chicken and rice, you make up some chicken tenders, throw some barbecue sauce on them or whatever, and it feels like you're having a cheat meal at home. So prep friendly and off-season friendly. In the off-season, you can always add some more calorie dense type stuff to the breading, put some fats in here, some olive oil, things like that to make it bread it up a little better. But in prep, we don't want to add too much. Like I said, we maybe added 5 to 7 carbs to one of our meals that we already have 100 carbs with. Not a big deal, but it's going to make that chicken taste next level. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Prep's starting to get hard. I'm starting to get hungry. And we were just talking about, does it get easier? And honestly, yeah, it does. The more you do this, the more you get used to the feelings that you're gonna feel, the more you get used to the body aches and the things like that, it's a lot easier to ignore the hunger pains, if you will. So does it Does the pain go away or does the hunger go away? No, probably not, but you learn how to mitigate it or learn how to deal with it better. As well as you get to learn some cool tips and tricks like what we shared today. It can kind of get you through what you need to get through. Whether you're a sweet tooth guy and you use the blueberry cobbler, or whether you're a savory guy that just can't live without some chicken nuggets and miss your Chick-fil-A. We kind of give you guys some options on how to be able to get around that. You know, there's lots of different options and lots of different ways, and everybody kind of has their tips and tricks and tools that they use in prep. But I do think as you do this, the more shows you do, the more people you're around that are in this environment, you're just gonna learn and pick up things, and it's just gonna get easier with time. And then the other thing that goes along with this, guys, is as you do it longer, the more you fall in love with it, the more you realize that that's just part of the process, and those things are necessary to get to the places that you want to be, to win those checks or to win those trophies or to fulfill those goals that you're chasing, right? So nothing worth having comes easy. And I think the longer you do this, the more you realize that that is part of the journey and that you do need to suffer a little bit and things. But there is some fun ways to, you know, change things up, be able to get around it a little bit, and still try to be a normal human in the midst of being this robotic thing that we call bodybuilding. It's something that I've loved. It's something that I've really fell in love with and learned how to lean into and embrace. And something that I know when I'm hungry, I know it's working, because I'm not a hungry guy. I always struggle to eat. And so when we get down to these times and the hunger starts to kick in and the body fatigue starts to kick in, I know we're doing exactly what we need to do to be chasing the titles that I want to be chasing. As much as it is going to get easier, it's a necessary evil, and it's one that you kind of want to chase down. And like I always talk about, lean in to the suck, embrace it, and learn to fall in love with it, and the rest of it will be easy. It was actually my first national prep. It was my second prep ever. And yeah, guys, I'm human too. So I've struggled with the things that you're struggling with or that you've struggled with in the past. And I dieted the hardest I've ever dieted in my whole life. I did the most amount of cardio I've ever done in my whole life. And after the show, I just completely broke. I had a mental moment of being human, like I said, and you know, as good of a bodybuilder as I am, and as far as I've made it in my career, I've been like you. I've been the amateur that screwed up and ate crazy amounts of food and was up 20 pounds after the show and all sorts of silly things. And you just honestly, as you get older and the more you do this, you realize it's not worth it. You've got to go back to the drawing board the next day, and you have to go back to doing cardio psychotically, and you have to go back to dieting psychotically to be able to just mitigate the damage that you already did, versus just sticking on plan, doing a little bit, enjoying some time and some food with your friends, and getting back on things, and you're gonna be able to come out of it 10 times quicker. You're gonna be able to eat 10 times more food as you get going. So don't try to rush the process. Like I said, the things that make this hard is also what makes it rewarding at the end too, you know? So I've been human, I've done it too. We all do it. I'm pretty sure if you're a pro bodybuilder and you say you haven't, you're a liar. We've all had a moment of being human and broke. Dieting is hard. This is not an easy sport, and if it was, everybody would do it, right? So the things that make it hard, the things that make it difficult is what also wins trophies. You want to get peeled out of your mind and win the trophies and win and be the overall champ. It takes some suffering, and that's what it's going to take here, but it's all worth it at the end of the day. All right, guys, so if you're meal prepping these, I would recommend letting them cool off on a rack. What that's gonna do is make sure that your breading doesn't get soggy on the bottom. So if you set on a plate, as you guys can see here, you're gonna get some condensation from the heat of the chicken. That water underneath there, that condensate, is gonna make the breading get moist and kind of gross. We don't want that, especially if you're gonna be putting these in the fridge to be able to eat later. We don't want soggy breading. Best way to do that is I steal Alexis's cookie rack that she uses to cool her cookies off on here. I also use this for the waffle almost every day as well, to have the same effect, make sure that my waffle doesn't get soggy, because you guys know I like it crisp. Chicken tenders are done here. We're gonna throw in a second batch, obviously, like I said. These are Alexis's favorite. These are one of my favorites, and there's not much better than chicken tenders. I don't care who you are, grown up or child, we all love chicken tenders, I feel like. And so this is a good way to get it in, prep friendly style. Second round, tenders going in the air fryer here. Like I said, make sure they're spread out. We're just gonna get these going. Tyson ready-made Martian nuggets.